A young woman makes a purchase at a gas station when an older man approaches and appears to briefly interrupt her. Moments later, he walks off, and the woman finishes her purchase and leaves the gas station without incident. This seemingly innocuous footage appears to be ordinary and uneventful, but it would eventually become the center of a bizarre murder investigation that had people simply asking, why? The woman pictured in this footage is 18-year-old Kayla Bryant. She had stopped at a local Circle K gas station with her mother and brother. Kayla had entered the store to make a purchase, but when she returned to her car, her mother reminded her that she forgot her mother's energy drink mix. Returning into the gas station, Kayla lined up to pay for her mother's item and also asked the station attendee for a packet of cigarettes. This is when 58-year-old Raul Ortiz can be seen approaching from the right of the frame, appearing to get close to Kayla and interrupting the exchange. While this appeared to be an unusual encounter between two strangers, Kayla and Raul knew of each other through mutual acquaintances. Kayla had a boyfriend, 19-year-old Erin Robinson. Erin's father was dating a woman named Danielle Reynolds, who had previously dated Mr. Ortiz. In the gas station's security footage, when Mr. Ortiz approaches Kayla, it appears that he briefly looks at Kayla's chest. However, it's unclear in the video footage if he was really looking at something else on the counter. Within just a second, he's looking back upward and appears to make a remark to Kayla before walking off. Kayla pays for her goods and is seen walking back to the vehicle with her mother and brother, appearing not to be bothered by this exchange at all. In reality, the encounter had played on in her mind, as shortly after this, she rang her boyfriend, Erin. Kayla told Erin that Mr. Ortiz had walked up to her, got into her personal space, stared at her chest, and made comments of a sexual nature to her. While most people would consider going to the police with this information, Erin was not that kind of person. Erin was known as a loose cannon, regularly exploding with rage at anyone who dared to look at his girlfriend, even threatening physical violence. Erin was enraged about the incident and wasn't about to let someone get away with treating Kayla, in his view, with disrespect. Erin immediately raced down to the Circle K gas station. By a complete coincidence, Mr. Ortiz's ex-girlfriend Danielle happened to be pulling into the gas station. Erin would begin a verbal tirade, telling Danielle that Raul Ortiz was not to speak or even look at Kayla. Erin had become so worked up and his voice had become so loud that customers entering the store stopped to see what was going on. Danielle called Raul as she entered the gas station to pay for her fuel, before returning to her car and the volatile Erin. Danielle handed the phone to Erin, and a heated exchange occurred over the phone between Erin and Raul. While it's not clear what was said between the two, the reaction after the phone call would later provide a theory for investigators. Erin immediately called his brother and a friend, and told them to meet him at the Dollar General store across the road from the gas station. This would suggest that Erin and Mr. Ortiz had decided to have a confrontation, and Erin felt he needed his brother's support in the event of a fight. Erin's brother and his friend arrived at the Dollar General store ready for a confrontation. However, after 30 minutes of waiting, Mr. Ortiz never arrived. Erin's brother asked him if he was going home, but the no-show would enrage Erin even further, as the man with an explosive temper would become incensed at the perceived lack of respect. Erin had Kayla drive him and his two accomplices a few streets away to Mr. Ortiz's residence on 12th Street. The three men got out of the pickup truck that Kayla had driven to the location and approached the house. According to Erin's version of events, Raul Ortiz came bursting out of his house, charging straight toward them, throwing his shirt off and punching Erin in the face. Erin allegedly defended himself by fighting back against the older man, before quickly overpowering him. The heavy blows that Erin inflicted on Mr. Ortiz would render him unconscious almost immediately. Kimberly Boyette, a neighbor of Raul's from across the street, walked out of her house during this incident and witnessed the entire attack on Raul. She was horrified when she observed Erin gripping the unconscious Mr. Ortiz by his hair and smashing his head into a landscaping rock. Eventually, Erin's brother and friend pulled Erin off the lifeless body in front of him, yelling at Erin they had to go because police were probably already on their way. Erin turned and looked at Kimberly before declaring that he knows she saw the whole thing and she should keep her mouth shut or she would be next, telling her, "I know where you live." Erin, his brother, Kayla, and the friend sped off from the scene in the pickup truck, only 2 hours after the initial event at Circle K. Mr. Ortiz's neighbor Kimberly immediately called 911, and EMTs quickly arrived on scene, finding Raul unconscious in his front yard with severe injuries to his head and neck. Raul Ortiz was immediately transferred to the South Bay Hospital before it was determined his injuries were so severe he needed to be relocated to the better-equipped Blake Hospital. Following the 911 call, police tracked down Erin and Kayla and sat down with them at their home to get their side of the story. Kayla and Erin allowed police to search their vehicle before being asked to accompany officers back to the police station. Erin would never deny that the fight had happened, but his version of events differed significantly from what others had witnessed and stated on record. Erin claimed Mr. Ortiz threw the first punch, and the altercation had spilled out onto the sidewalk. It was now up to detectives to try and find the truth of what really happened. Erin was advised that he was not under arrest and free to leave, but decided to cooperate with authorities and answer questions of his own free will.
So here's my big question. What would have happened tonight?
Well, earlier this evening when I got home off work growing up, my girlfriend and I, Kayla, went to Advance taking part of her mom's truck, and she informed me of an incident with Raul. I'm not sure his last name. About him staring down her shirt and getting her off clothes, like way too close. Their shoulders were touching, and he was like staring down her shirt and whatnot. And it upset me, so I had her take me to his house, and I went to confront him. When I went to confront him, he came out of his house, pulled off his shirt, and yelled at me. So I was standing in front of his gate. He opened his gate, so I took a step back. And we started arguing a few choice words. And he swung. When he swung, he connected me right here inside of the jaw. And when he did that, I swung back and I hit him 3 times. That's what I remember.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go back. If that's where you remember too, then we'll start from where you remember from. So, Kayla said that he had been too close. Did you know Raul, or do you know who Raul is?
Yes, I know Raul.
How do you know Raul?
Through my basketball friends.
Okay, is this Danielle maybe?
Yeah, okay, rounds.
And listening to Kayla said that it was Danielle. So.
Yes, I.
So you know Raul through your dad's girlfriend?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. How does she know Raul, do you know?
Danielle?
Yes.
Oh, I have no clue.
No idea? Okay. So you asked her to take you there?
Yes, sir.
Did she take you there?
Yes, sir.
How did she take you there?
She drove me in a truck.
She drove you in the truck?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which truck?
Right at 150.
The red 150 that was at the residence?
Yes, sir.
When we came and talked to you? Okay. She drove you to that place?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was there anybody else that went with you?
Yes, sir. My brother, James Robinson.
Okay.
And I kind of did his time in this bucket.
Okay.
Not his first one.
When you approached, where was Raul at?
He was coming off his front porch, taking off his shirt, and he started pointing his finger and said, "Let me tell you something." And then he started saying something in Spanish. I don't understand Spanish.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure what he said.
Okay. And so, what did you say back to him?
I said, "Wonder why you trying to mess with a young guy because she's only fucking 18 years old, this, that, and the other." And it's kind of what the words got said. I'm not 100% sure what got said, so. And then, I guess he opened the gate, but pushed it over. Like I said, I took a couple steps back, 2 steps back. We just kept arguing, and then he swung, and he got me in the jaw on the left side. And then I swung back.
Okay. Alright. And you said you hit him 3 times?
Yes, I did.
Where did you hit him at?
In his face.
In his face? Okay. Was he standing up? Was he on the ground?
Before he hit the ground, I hit him 3 times.
Before he hit the ground, you hit him 3 times. Okay. When was that right? Because I've been to the house, so I'm trying to put it because there's a little gate there.
And you say,
Yeah, absolutely.
here's the road in front of his house. Here's his fence. There's like 2 little gate things. And right here, he has those little concrete around his land. We were standing right here. And all the altercation started. Which was right here in front of the gate. So we opened the gate. I stepped back. I punched him. And I hit him 3. As I was hitting him, fell back into the gate. And I hit him.
As Erin was talking to police, Raul Ortiz was still clinging to life in hospital, completely unresponsive. His condition rapidly deteriorated, and doctors observed that all brain activity had ceased. Raul Ortiz was put on life support long enough for his family members to say goodbye before the life support was turned off, ending his life only 2 days after the confrontation with Erin. An autopsy would later show Mr. Ortiz had multiple skull fractures and numerous lacerations, bruises, and blunt force trauma injuries. His condition was likened to that of someone that had been in a head-on highway crash. Several of Mr. Ortiz's teeth were knocked out and had become lodged in his throat. Raul Ortiz's cause of death would be attributed to severe head trauma and spinal cord injuries, complicated by internal hemorrhaging. The lack of any wounds or bruising on Mr. Ortiz's hands would counter Erin's claim that Mr. Ortiz had thrown the first punch. From all appearances, Raul had been knocked unconscious very quickly, and as a result of not being able to defend himself, had sustained multiple and severe blows to the head. What had begun as a possible misunderstanding at a gas station had now escalated into a potential murder investigation. Police arrested Erin, initially charging him with manslaughter, witness tampering, and for threatening the neighbor, Kimberly Boyette. In a bizarre move by authorities, Erin was let out on bond, and for the next 4 years he lived as a free man. Kayla and Erin later separated, and he would move on, meeting another woman and having a child. From the outside looking in, he appeared to have straightened out his life and was heading in the right direction. But it wasn't long before his past was about to catch up with him. After 4 long years of living as a free man, Erin finally faced court on his manslaughter charges. Erin's defense team would argue that he should be immune from prosecution under the state's Stand Your Ground law. Their defense hinged on the argument that Mr. Ortiz started the fight, and it didn't matter whether the fight was in his front yard or on the sidewalk. Erin's defense team would claim that Erin thought his life was in danger and was therefore justified in using deadly force. The defense filed a motion to have all charges dropped against Erin. This motion was initially denied by a Hillsborough Circuit Court judge, and it was appealed. However, the motion was ultimately denied again. Erin would have to stand trial for his actions. When the trial began, prosecutors added on the charge of burglary, citing that they believed Erin took items from Mr. Ortiz's residence after the assault. Whilst surprised, he breathed a sigh of relief when prosecutors stated they were dropping the manslaughter charge. But this relief would be short-lived, as prosecutors instead charged him with felony murder. This would mean that instead of a possible guilty sentence with a few years in jail, Erin would now be facing the prospect of life in jail without the possibility of parole. Erin was remanded in the Hillsborough County Jail while the result of his trial was pending. With a new girlfriend and baby waiting for him on the outside, life in prison is not what Erin was expecting. Then, out of nowhere, a deal that seemed too good to be true was presented by the prosecution. Erin was offered 15 years in prison if he entered a guilty plea, allowing him to avoid the uncertainties of a trial. Erin could take the deal and be out before his 40th birthday, or he could run the risk at trial of being convicted of felony murder and never see the outside of prison walls again. It is likely that his defense team were advising him to take the deal. Erin instead would decide to take his chances at trial. Erin's murder trial began in the middle of the pandemic. While many trials were delayed due to precautions taken to prevent the spread of COVID-19, Erin's trial would be one of the few that would go ahead. Wearing full face shields and hands lathered in sanitizer, the prosecution provided their opening statement.
Members of the jury, on August 11th, 2014, one person died. One person died as a result of that defendant, Erin Robinson. Erin Robinson was upset. He went to the victim, Raul Ortiz's house, to get in a fight. You're going to hear from numerous witnesses today. The state's going to call Kimberly Boyette. She's going to tell you that she witnessed the fight. She saw Raul Ortiz get beaten. So beaten that his entire face was swollen, both eyes swollen shut. That when they went to go try to resuscitate him, they had to pull his teeth out of his throat. You're then going to hear from Deputy Donald Hess, who arrived first on scene, and he'll describe the scene to you. How there's blood on the grass, how the victim looked. You'll get to see those pictures. Then you're going to hear from Danielle Reynolds, and she's going to tell you the events leading up to it. What caused this defendant to kill Raul Ortiz? A minor incident between Mr. Ortiz and his girlfriend at a Circle K earlier that day. Approximately no more than 10 seconds sent that defendant into such a rage that he beat Raul Ortiz to death. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this was not self-defense. I anticipate that the defense is going to tell you about how Mr. Robinson was defending himself, because when Raul Ortiz first came out, he swung with one punch. However, the issue is this. Once Mr. Robinson swung, he then stepped across the fence and the property line to continue to beat Mr. Ortiz while he was on the ground, on Mr. Ortiz's own property. That defendant went looking for a fight. He was angry. He knew he was upset. You're going to hear testimony from Mr. Robinson's own mouth, and he's going to tell you that he has a history of occasionally blacking out. Ladies and gentlemen, the state submits to you this. This was not self-defense. This was murder. The defendant knew when he left that property, when he saw the victim on the ground, that he was in trouble. And he needed to leave, come up with a story. Something that would make sense to explain the extent of these injuries.
Okay, please, the court, counsel. Good morning, members of the jury. August 11th, 2014 started like a day like any other for Erin Robinson. I expect that you're going to hear Mr. Robinson got up that morning. He went to work. He came home, changed his clothing, and then he went to run some errands with his fiancée at the time, Kayla Bryant. What we're going to learn is that during the time that he's running some errands, going to the Circle K, he hears about an interaction that Kayla Bryant had with Raul Ortiz earlier in the day. We're going to learn that Ms. Bryant told Mr. Robinson that she was at the Circle K and that Mr. Ortiz came into the Circle K and stood very close to her, tried to look down her shirt, made her feel very uncomfortable. And I anticipate that you're going to have a chance to actually see a video of the Circle K. One of the things that you may find is that Kayla Bryant may have exaggerated what happened at the Circle K. She may have been a little dramatic about what happened at the Circle K. But Mr. Robinson wasn't there. So all he knows is what Kayla Bryant told him. So we're going to learn that this all happens in a small area of town. It happens out in Waimama, where everyone tends to know each other. Everyone tends to run into each other at places like the Circle K. What I expect you're going to hear is that as Miss Bryant and Mr. Robinson are leaving the Circle K, they see Danielle Reynolds. And Ms. Reynolds happens to be Mr. Ortiz's girlfriend at the time. Because at the end of the day, what we're going to hear is that this was a fist fight. That Erin Robinson went over to Raul Ortiz's house to talk to him, to confront him, after Raul Ortiz indicated that he wanted to talk about what happened at the Circle K. And when Erin Robinson gets over there, I expect what you're going to hear is that Raul Ortiz comes running out of his house, takes his shirt off, throws it on a chair, opens and charges at Mr. Robinson, opens the gate at the front of the property, and I expect the testimony is going to be that Raul Ortiz hits Erin Robinson before Mr. Robinson ever lays a hand on Raul Ortiz. And there is not a single witness, not even Kimberly Blyett, who's going to say something different than that. And then you're going to hear that justifiable homicide is something that occurs in a situation like this, where there is a fist fight, no weapons, and unfortunately, someone dies. This was not the intent of Mr. Robinson. He never intended to kill Mr. Ortiz. He didn't go over to Mr. Ortiz's property to hit him, to hurt him. You're going to learn that he went over to Mr. Ortiz's property simply to talk to him.
The defense argued that Erin acted purely in self-defense to protect himself. Prosecutors refuted that claim, showing pictures of a bloody and beaten Mr. Ortiz, claiming these injuries weren't the result of someone defending themselves. Kayla Bryant was one of the people called to the stand to shed some light on what really happened on that fateful day.
At one point in that early afternoon, did you find yourself at the Circle K in Waimama, Florida?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were you there with your mom and your brother?
Yes, I was.
Was there a point in time where you were in that store by yourself without them?
Yes, I went back in.
Did you encounter someone that you knew at the time to be someone by the name of Raul Ortiz?
Yes, ma'am.
And regardless as to what happened in the Circle K, did you feel as though Mr. Ortiz was acting inappropriate towards you?
I felt if he was too close to me.
Okay, did that make you feel uncomfortable?
Yes.
The defense immediately attempted to stress the point that Raul had made Kayla feel uncomfortable. When the prosecution cross-examined Kayla, the response she gave was damning.
Having a hassle over. I'll stand over here if it helps. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Can we agree that out of all the people involved, you were in the best position to know if this was all making a fuss about?
Yes.
I mean, you were the person that was there at the Circle K earlier with Raul.
Yes.
You knew exactly how bad or not bad that situation was.
Yes.
You were the person who could have said, honey, you know what? It's not worth it. It's not a big deal. Let it go. This is really getting out of hand.
Yes.
And you knew that the entire way as all this is progressing.
Yes.
Did he just ask you, are you going to buy cigarettes?
I heard cigarettes, but I couldn't quite understand the rest.
So clearly, he's not saying anything sexual to you if he's talking about cigarettes, right?
No.
In fact, the very next thing that happens as he walks away is he yells to the clerk, she's too young to buy them, isn't that?
Yes.
So he's trying to tell the clerk not to sell you cigarettes because he thinks you're buying cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing sexual happening in this moment, is there?
No.
It appeared from the character statements given by others that Mr. Ortiz was simply a good Samaritan, trying to prevent an underage girl known to him from purchasing cigarettes. Kayla admitted on the witness stand that she had fabricated some of the stories she told police or made them seem excessively worse than they actually were. It's unsure if Erin had known of Kayla's changed testimony, as he sat there emotionless while she was being examined. The only thing that was clear to all those in the courtroom was that Kayla had lied to Erin, creating a story that she knew would make him react violently. Because of Kayla's lies, Erin had ultimately taken another man's life. All hope was lost for Erin when the prosecution called on their star witness, Mr. Ortiz's neighbor, Kimberly Blyett. Kimberly claimed to have seen the whole fight and strongly refuted the statement Erin had made about Raul throwing the first punch.
Give me a rough idea in years.
Well, I'm 53 now, so it was like maybe when I was 14, 12, between 12 and 14 years.
So roughly 40 years you lived there?
Yeah.
Have you known Mr. Ortiz to be your neighbor across the street there for the entire time?
Yes.
Did you become friends with him?
We talked and later on we became friends.
Okay, and sometimes people are friends like we're just neighbors, we say hi to each other, and sometimes people are more social, they hang out, they
Yeah,
like.
he used to come over and give the kids snacks and stuff.
So he was a friend of your family,
Yeah.
not just your neighbor?
No.
Okay. So you recognize 2 of the 3 men that are getting out of these trucks as James and Erin.
Yeah.
Now the person that you know is Erin Robinson. I want you to look around the courtroom and see if you see anyone that you know to be Erin Robinson.
Over there.
Okay, and for the record, could you please describe what that person is wearing so we know who you're talking about?
A suit.
Okay, can you tell me the color?
It looks black from here.
Okay, and can you tell me the color of his shirt maybe?
It's light blue.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd ask that the record reflect that she has identified the defendant, Erin Robinson. Yes. Now, specifically when I ask you about what people are doing, I'm squarely focused on Erin Robinson, okay?
Yeah.
As Erin gets out of the truck, along with James and the other boy, the other man, tell me what Erin is doing. How's he acting? What's he saying? Those sorts of things.
He was acting mad, took his shirt off, and acting real mad.
Okay. So he's mad and he's taking his shirt off.
Yeah.
Based on what he's saying, can you tell who or what he's mad about?
Wanting to argue with Raul.
Okay.
Yelling things at Raul.
And what sort of things, if anything, do you remember him yelling at Raul?
I only remember saying motherfucking son of a bitch and taking his shirt off.
As he's saying those curse words, does he seem to be saying them in the direction of Raul?
Yes.
Okay, he's not just like yelling them into the air, is he?
No.
All right. As he's taking off his shirt and he's saying these curse words, where is he going or where is he moving to?
Toward Raul's place.
Okay, and where specifically?
Toward the front of the gate.
Okay.
To the, coming off of Dina onto the sidewalk to his gate.
Now, when they get to the gate, what if anything happens? Do they stop at the gate or do they keep moving on?
They just went on into the gate.
Now, I want to be real clear about this. These guys get out of the truck, they take off their shirts, they're yelling, Erin's screaming, cursing, whatever. They get to the gate. Is somebody waiting for them at the gate to let them in, or do they just come in?
They just come on in.
There's nobody letting them in?
No.
As they come into the fence, do they still appear angry or aggressive?
They was mad.
Mad, okay. And as you're watching all of this happen, tell me what you see happen next.
Raul walking toward them, like by the tree, and then they started fighting.
All right, I want to help the jury understand your testimony very specifically. Here states 3B. When you say Raul starts walking towards them, is there any point at which Raul gets to Erin and the boys outside the fence, or does everything happen inside?
Inside. Yes, right there.
Okay, that's obviously not Raul standing in that picture, though.
No.
But is that person in roughly the area where the fight is occurring?
Yes.
So does this roughly approximate the view that you have of the people and the things that would be in the way as far as the chain link fence and whatever foliage is on the fence?
Yes.
As you're watching the fight through the fence and the foliage there, describe what you see happening to Raul.
He was getting beat. He was getting punches thrown at him, kicking.
Now, when you say that he's getting punches and kicks thrown at him, is he on the ground the entire time?
Yes.
Do you ever see him get up and start throwing punches back?
No.
Once he goes to the ground, does he always stay on the ground?
Yes.
Who can you see is attacking Mr. Ortiz?
Erin Robinson.
And can you describe the position of Mr. Robinson as he's attacking Mr. Ortiz?
He was over top of him.
Over top of him, like, is he standing up bent over? Is he down on his knees? Describe.
Bent over. Bent over.
So he's bent over, and describe the motion that you see Mr. Robinson doing as he's bent over on top of Mr. Ortiz.
Throwing punches.
So can you see his arm going back and forth?
Yes,
Can you see it do that multiple times?
yes.
As you're that distance from Mr. Robinson, I want you to describe what you see about his physical appearance.
He had spots of blood on him,
Spots of blood on him where?
on his hands.
Okay. You mean like the outside, the inside? What could you tell?
Outside.
Would you say a lot of blood or a
Around the
little
knuckles and,
bit? On the knuckles?
yeah.
Would you say a lot of blood, a little bit of blood? Like, are we talking about like one drop or like there was more than one?
Just few spots of blood. Not a lot, but
And as Mr. Robinson is walking back to the truck and you're, I don't know, 6 or 10 feet away from him, does he look at you?
yes.
And what, if anything, does he say or do when he looks at you?
He told me I didn't see nothing. What? No.
Okay. And when he says, I didn't, well, if you can, I want you to say the words as best as you remember specifically, because I don't want to misquote you.
You didn't see.
An answer. Use his words.
You didn't see me.
Okay. Erin says, you didn't see me. Does he say anything else?
He said, I know where you live.
I know where you live.
The defense attempted to discredit Kimberly as a witness, questioning the statements she had provided to police.
You've given quite a few different statements to different people about this case. Is that right?
No.
No? How many times have you talked to someone about this case?
Why you mean?
Okay, well, I'll break it down actually. So on August 11th, did you talk to law enforcement officers?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you spoke to the detective back on August 11th, 2014, you actually told her that 4 or 5 people got out of the pickup trucks. Is that right?
No, I don't remember. I know I did say there was 3 or 4, which I was talking about the black car.
Mr. Diaz asked you earlier about some words that Mr. Robinson, Erin Robinson, had with you before he left that day. Do you remember talking about that?
What I say earlier?
Right. So you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. You told Mr. Diaz that Mr. Robinson said something along the lines of, don't say anything, I know where you live.
Yes.
Okay. Today here in this courtroom, that's the first time you've ever told anyone Mr. Robinson said, I know where you live. Isn't that right?
No.
You think you've told that to someone else before?
It was in my statement.
Which statement?
The statement.
Well, we've gone over, you've given a couple of different statements, so was it your statement that you gave to the detective?
I don't remember X and one of them.
Okay.
The situation became overwhelming for Kimberly, who was not used to court or being put under pressure from lawyers, and she broke down on the stand.
I have 5 minutes, right? Just get some water.
I'm sorry?
Get some water.
Sure. You get her a little water, maybe from that jury room back there? Thank you.
I need to take
Are
a
any of
break.
these full? Pardon?
I need to take a break. Take a
Okay. Any? All right. Take the jury out.
It's just getting to me.
Okay. Well, you didn't cry during any of the time that Mr. Diaz was questioning you.
I know, but
I'm
it's
just wondering what's making you upset
I
now.
don't know.
Okay.
I get this way.
All right. Well, Deputy Walker will take you back to that jury room over there where you can sit and relax and have a glass of water. But, just like when Mr. Diaz was questioning you,
I know it's the same.
Miss Dunker has, the right to ask you
Yes, I
questions
know.
as well.
I
So
know. It's just
if you don't remember an answer,
Right.
you don't remember an answer. You're
Right.
sworn to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So you need to tell the truth
Yeah.
about what it is that you
Yeah.
remember.
that's
Okay.
I know. I just
All right. Deputy Walker will take you back for a couple of minutes.
It was yet another blow to his defense when Erin's brother took the stand and admitted, under oath, that Erin had told him he wanted to fight Raul.
Your brother did not tell you standing in the parking lot of the Dollar General that what he wanted to do was to go fight Raul, and then you had to talk him out of it and tell him he couldn't do that?
Not that I remember, no, sir.
Do you remember being interviewed by the police on August 12th, 2014? You were standing, I think, outside next to your truck being interviewed by 2 detectives. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir. I was standing by my stairs.
Okay. And when they asked you about what the conversation was between you and your brother at the Family Dollar, didn't you tell them that my brother said he wanted to fight? And I'm like, if you really want to fight, that you really can't do that. Isn't that what you told the police?
Yes, sir. I remember that.
So within 24 hours of the incident happening, being interviewed by 2 police officers, your brother's already been arrested. What you told him is your brother wanted to go fight.
Originally,
right?
Yes, sir.
His brother had claimed that Erin had made the comment at the Dollar General store before the short drive to Raul Ortiz's house, showing premeditation. After the prosecution and defense made their final closing arguments, nobody knew what the outcome of the case would be. How would the jury view the evidence? And which version of events would they believe? When the jury was about to leave to deliberate, the defense suddenly filed a motion for a mistrial. The defense lawyers claimed that some of the jurors had been unduly influenced by media articles related to the trial. The presiding judge considered the motion and ultimately declared that none of the infractions constituted a mistrial. The jury convened to consider both sides of the arguments before making their conclusion. After 5 hours, the jury returned to the courtroom, ready to deliver a unanimous verdict.
State of Florida versus Erin Lee Robinson, case number 14 CF 11818A. We, the jury, as to count 1 of the indictment, find as follows. The defendant is guilty of first-degree felony murder as charged. We, the jury, as to count 2 of the indictment, find as follows. The defendant is guilty of burglary as charged. During the commission of the crime, did Erin Robinson commit a battery against Raul Ortiz? Yes.
Guilty of first-degree felony murder and burglary. Erin was led out of the courtroom in tears and taken to his cell at the Hillsborough County Jail. Erin Robinson was later sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He now calls Graceville Correctional and Rehabilitation Facility in Jackson County, Florida, his home, and will do so for the rest of his natural life. It was later reported that Kayla Bryant had a new boyfriend only 2 weeks after separating from Erin. Erin appears to have thrown his life away, defending a woman who did not love him the way he loved her. To this day, Kayla Bryant has not been charged with any crimes in relation to the murder of Raul Ortiz. If you found this case compelling, help us out by liking the video and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive into shocking true crime cases. Channel memberships with extended perks, such as members-only videos or early video releases, are also available by hitting the Join button. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.